Imagine you're driving on a busy highway. There are rules, but what if something unexpected happens? Rule 2 of the COLREGs is the ultimate safety net for mariners, just like that emergency moment on the road. It's not about specific actions, but about who's responsible and when you can break the rules to avoid disaster. This rule has been around for over 150 years and is still the backbone of maritime safety. In this video, we'll break down Rule 2 in simple terms, so you understand why it's called the boss rule and how it keeps everyone at sea accountable. The OLREGs are the international regulations for preventing collisions at sea, the traffic rules for ships. There are 41 rules in total, but Rule 2 stands out because it's about responsibility, not just actions. Think of COLREGs as the rules of the road for ships, guiding everything from who gives way to how to signal in fog. But Rule 2 is special. It tells you who's responsible and when you can and must use your judgment. This sets the stage for understanding why Rule 2 is so important for every navigator, especially in unexpected situations. Rule 2 is often called the responsibility rule or the general prudential rule. It's the foundation of accountability at sea. Unlike other rules that tell you exactly what to do, Rule 2 says you must always act responsibly and use good judgment. It's the maritime version of with great power comes great responsibility. Whether you're the captain, crew, or ship owner, Rule 2 makes it clear. You can't escape responsibility if something goes wrong. This rule has barely changed in over a century because it's so crucial to safe navigation. Rule 2 is split into two main parts, Part A and Part B. Part A is strict, no excuses, you're responsible. Part B is the emergency escape clause, sometimes you can break the rules to avoid immediate danger. These two parts work together like a strict parent and a safety valve. Part A keeps everyone accountable, while Part B gives you flexibility in real emergencies. Understanding both is key to being a safe and responsible mariner. Part A of Rule 2 says nothing in the rules will excuse you from the consequences of neglect. In plain English, you can't get off the hook if you mess up. Everyone is accountable, not just the navigator, but the captain, crew, and even the ship owner. You must follow the rules, use common sense, and take all necessary precautions. If you ignore these responsibilities, you're still at fault, even if you didn't break a specific rule. This part is all about proactive safety and accountability. Let's break down the legal terms in Rule 2. Exonerate means to be free from blame. Ordinary practice of seamen is just good seamanship using common sense and best practices. Special circumstances are unique situations that need extra attention. These terms mean you must always act with care even if the rules don't spell out every detail. If you fail to use good seamanship, you're still responsible under Rule 2. Rule 2 makes it clear accountability is shared. The navigator, captain, crew, and ship owner all have a role in preventing collisions. If someone neglects their duty, everyone in the chain can be held responsible. This means you can't just blame the person at the wheel. Everyone must work together, follow the rules, and use good judgment to keep the ship and everyone on board safe. Rule 2A says you must follow the COLREGs and also use good seamanship. This means you can't just stick to the letter of the law, you have to use your brain and act with care. Even if the rules don't mention a specific situation, you're expected to do what experienced sailors would do. Good seamanship is about being proactive, staying alert, and making smart decisions to avoid danger. Picture this, you're navigating a cargo ship near a port and see an anchored vessel ahead. The rules don't specifically say to avoid anchored ships, but good seamanship tells you to keep a safe distance. If you ignore this and something goes wrong, you've violated Rule 2, even if you didn't break a specific rule. This example shows how Rule 2 expects you to use common sense and take precautions beyond what's written. Imagine you're in a narrow channel and want to overtake a slower ship. The rules don't forbid overtaking here, but experienced mariners know it's risky. The smart move is to wait until you're out of the channel. If you overtake and cause a collision, you've violated Rule 2 because you didn't follow best seamanship practices. This highlights the importance of judgment and caution, even when the rules seem silent. Part B of Rule 2 is your emergency escape clause. It says you can break the rules if there's immediate danger and it's the only way to avoid disaster. But this isn't a free pass, you must have a good reason, and it only applies in genuine emergencies. You must consider all dangers and the limitations of your vessel. This part of Rule 2 is often misunderstood, so it's crucial to know when it really applies. Rule 2B lets you break the rules, but only if two conditions are met. There must be special circumstances and immediate danger. Both must be present. If you only have one, Rule 2B doesn't apply. Courts are strict about this, no stretching the rule for convenience or poor planning. This ensures that the escape clause is used only when absolutely necessary to prevent disaster. Say two ships are heading straight toward each other. The rules say both should turn right, but Ship A has shallow water on its right side. Turning right would mean running aground and immediate danger. In this case, Ship A can turn left instead, breaking the rule because Rule 2B allows it to avoid immediate danger. But Ship A must clearly signal its intentions to avoid a collision. Imagine you're on a bulk carrier heading toward a container ship, but there's dense fishing traffic on your right. The rules say turn right, but doing so would put you in the middle of dozens of fishing boats, immediate danger. Here, Rule 2B lets you turn left instead because the special circumstances and immediate danger justify breaking the normal rule. This keeps everyone safer. Suppose you're 6 miles away from another ship with shallow water on your right. Is this immediate danger? No, you have plenty of time to slow down, communicate, and plan. Rule 2B doesn't apply here. You can't use the emergency escape clause just because you didn't plan ahead. This example shows the importance of proactive planning and not relying on exceptions. Immediate danger means right now, not soon, not maybe, not if things continue as they are. If you have time to think, communicate, or slow down, the danger isn't immediate. This concept is crucial for applying Rule 2B. Only when there's no time left and disaster is about to happen can you break the rules. Otherwise, you're expected to plan and act early. Good seamanship is maritime common sense. It means having anchors ready in busy or shallow waters, reducing speed when visibility is poor, keeping a proper lookout, and acting early if you feel uncomfortable. If you violate good seamanship, you're breaking Rule 2A, even if you followed every other rule. Being proactive and cautious is always expected. Cautions are about being proactive, not reactive. Start slowing down early in congested areas, post extra lookouts, have clear instructions, and test equipment before entering critical zones. If you end up in a situation with no good options, it's likely because you didn't take enough precautions. Rule 2 expects you to avoid emergencies, not just react to them. If you find yourself in a head-on situation with no room to turn because of obstacles, can you claim special circumstances? No. Rule 2 required you to plan ahead and take precautions long before this. You should have reduced speed or changed course earlier. Arriving in an impossible situation is a sign of poor seamanship, and you'll be held responsible. Not all ships are created equal. A massive oil tanker can't stop or turn as quickly as a speedboat. Some vessels may be broken down or have limited maneuverability. Rule 2B recognizes these limitations. When applying the rule, you must consider what your ship and others can and can't do. This ensures fair and realistic expectations for everyone at sea. When a collision happens, courts look at Rule 2 to assign blame. The navigator, captain, crew, and ship owner can all be held responsible if rules weren't followed. Nobody can say, "Not my problem." This chain of responsibility ensures that everyone takes their role seriously and works together to prevent accidents at sea. Maritime courts are very strict about Rule 2. You can't claim the emergency escape clause just because following the rules is inconvenient. You can't blame the rules if you didn't plan ahead. Good seamanship and common sense are always required. Rule 2B is an exception, not a regular escape route. Courts often find multiple parties at fault if planning and precautions were lacking. We're in a traffic separation scheme, a maritime highway. You want to overtake a slower vessel on her starboard side, but there's a rocky outcrop there. The rules allow overtaking, but good seamanship says don't put another vessel between you and a hazard. If you overtake on the starboard side and there's an incident, you violated Rule 2A, even if you didn't break any specific rule. Always consider the bigger safety picture. We're navigating in fog and someone falls overboard. The rules say to sound 1 prolonged blast every 2 minutes, but you want to sound 3 blasts to warn others. This is a legitimate use of Rule 2B. Immediate danger and special circumstances justify breaking the normal rule. Once the emergency is over, you return to standard procedures. This example shows how Rule 2B can save lives in real emergencies. Two vessels are approaching head-on. At 1 mile, the other ship isn't turning as required. At half a mile, still nothing. At 0.2 miles, collision is imminent. Can you turn hard to port? Yes, this is Rule 2B in action. But the court will ask, did you try to communicate or slow down earlier? If you failed to take precautions, you might still share blame under Rule 2A, even if your final action was justified. You're approaching a busy harbor and your main engine fails. You're drifting toward other ships. The rules say maintain course and speed, but you can't. Vessel limitations create special circumstances. You must signal your status alert nearby vessels and use all available means to avoid collision. Rule 2B covers you, but only if you take all reasonable precautions given your limitations. Common mistake is thinking Rule 2B lets you break the rules whenever it's easier. That's wrong. Rule 2B is for genuine emergencies only. You should always try to follow the rules and avoid situations where you need to break them. Using Rule 2B as an excuse for convenience or poor planning will not hold up in court. Another mistake is believing that following all the numbered rules keeps you safe from blame. In reality, you must also use good seamanship and common sense. If you ignore precautions or act carelessly, you're still responsible under Rule 2. The rules are a foundation, but your judgment and actions matter just as much. Some mariners wait until danger is immediate before acting. That's a mistake. Rule 2 expects you to plan ahead, reduce speed early, and position yourself to avoid emergencies. Prevention is always better than emergency action. Don't wait until you have no good options. Be proactive and stay ahead of problems. It's easy to think, I'm just the officer on watch, someone else is responsible. But Rule 2 says everyone shares responsibility, from the owner to the captain to you. You're personally accountable for your actions. This mindset is essential for safe navigation and teamwork at sea. Here's your practical checklist for applying Rule 2. Always follow COLREGs, use common sense, plan ahead, take precautions, consider vessel limitations, only break rules for immediate danger, return to normal rules as soon as possible, and document everything if you had to use Rule 2B. This approach keeps you safe, responsible, and professional on the water. Rule 2 is called the responsibility rule for a reason. It puts the weight of safety on your shoulders. You must follow the rules, use your brain, take precautions, and never make excuses. In a real emergency, you can break the rules, but only if it's the only way to stay safe. Rule 2 creates a system where rules provide structure, but your judgment provides flexibility. Rule 2 of COLREGs is the override rule for maritime navigation. It reminds you that rules are essential, but common sense and good seamanship are just as important. Everyone in the maritime chain shares responsibility. Emergencies require real solutions, but proper planning should prevent most emergencies. As a Gen Z navigator, your judgment, precautions, and professionalism matter most. The sea doesn't care about excuses, and neither does Rule 2. Stay sharp, stay safe, and remember, with great navigational power comes great navigational responsibility.